Lesson 4.7 on page 313, paired data and equations in two variables. Alright, got an equation up here on the board, and one of the things that you'll notice about this equation is that there are two variables. There's an x and a y. Alright, so what numbers make this a true statement? Well, you could say that if we put a 2 in here and we put a 3 in here, 2 plus 3, that equals 5. We could also put in here 4 plus 1. We could put in here 1 plus 4, 0 plus 5. We could put in here 7 plus negative 2. All of those numbers work to make x plus y equals 5 a true statement. So which one is true? Which one is right? Well, if you remember a few lessons ago, all I said is to make this right, it has to be a true statement. So all of these make this a true statement. So all of these are solutions to this equation, x plus y equals 5. But notice, if we put a 2 in for x, our only option for y is a 3. If we put a 4 in for x, our only option for y is 1. So what these are called, when that is true, we call this paired data. So P-A-I-R-E-D, data, D-A-T-A. That means that if we put one number down, the other number goes along with it. It's a pair. They're paired together. Alright, when we're dealing with a pair of numbers, there's a not really too much of a shortcut, but when dealing with an x and a y, what we usually do when we pair those is, instead of saying x equals 2 and y equals 3, we usually write it parentheses, our x term first, comma, our y term. That's called an ordered pair. Ordered pair. That means that if x is 2, y has to be 3. If y is 3, x has to be 2. They go together. So our ordered pair here would be 4 comma 1, 1 comma 4, 0 comma 5, 7 comma negative 2. Now look at this in particular. Those are not the same thing. Although we're adding 4 and 1 together in both of those situations, in this situation the x is 4. Let me try that again. In this situation the x is 4 and the y is 1. In this situation the x is 1 and the y is 4. Even though we're adding those two together and getting 5, by switching them it changes. So these are two completely different ordered pairs because the x changes and the y changes depending on which set of ordered pairs that you're looking at there. And that will make a lot more sense later on as we start graphing. But right now, just suffice it to say that these are not the same there. Alright, so let's look at some examples on the bottom of page 314. It says in example 1, fill in the ordered pairs. Let me write them up here. 0, and then they give you a blank. They don't tell you what the y term is. And the way to remember this alphabetically, x comes before y, the first number is the x, the second number is the y, and then they give me a blank, and then they put up there negative 2. Then they give me another blank, or a parenthesis with 3, and there's a blank for our y coordinate. Okay. It's another word for, the x and the y is using the words coordinate. This is the x coordinate, this is the y coordinate. Alright, so let's put a line there to show what's missing there. Alright, so we've got 3 different ordered pairs here, and we're trying to find the missing terms there. So they give me an equation, 2x plus 3y equals 6. So all you're going to do is you're going to take the information they gave you for each one of these ordered pair, plug it in here, and find out what the other letter is. So in this one, they're saying that x is 0. So whenever I see an x in here, I'm going to put a 0 in its place. And I really suggest you writing the whole thing out again. So 2 times 0, that disappears because it's 0. So 3y equals 6. Divide by 3. Y is 2. So when x is 0, y has to be a 2. Okay, so I'm going to erase this. And now I'm going to put in a negative 2 whenever I see a y. Okay, now I'm going to multiply. I'm going to have to add 6 to both sides. Divide by 2. So x equals 6. So when y is negative 2, x has to be a 6. Alright, let's try one more here. When x is 3, so 2 times 3 plus 3y equals 6. Multiply through. Okay, I'm adding 6 to 3y, so I'm going to subtract it. So it gives me 3y equals, what do you get when you do that? Okay, you get 6 minus 6 is 0. Okay, so my y equals 0 over 3, which is 0. So if I put a 3 in here, in here, I get a 0 for my y. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus what is 6? Well, obviously, we put this y in here. 0 times 3 is 0. 6 plus 0 is 6. All right. So, on this next part, B, tables, on page 315, there are some ways that mathematicians put this stuff together using table form. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do 5x minus 2y equals 20. And they gave us a table here. So this is usually how I write the table. X in the first column, y in the second. And they give me a 2 for x and a 0 for x. And then they give me a 5 and a 0. Okay, so if my x is 2, what's my y? If my x is 0, what's my y? If my y is 5, what's my x? If my y is 0, what's my x? It's the same thing that we just did in the last example, only they give it to you in table form rather than a number with a blank here. So it's the same thing. Here's my blank instead of in the coordinate or in the ordered pair symbol. So all you're going to do is put a 2 in here for x. So 10 minus 2y equals 20. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this 10. This is a positive. Don't let this negative fool you. This is a positive, so we're going to take it away. So negative 2y equals 10. Divide by negative 2. So y equals negative 5. So when x is 2, our y is negative 5. Then you put a 0 in and do the same thing. You put a 5 in for the y and find out what your x is. And that's pretty much it for this lesson. Just learning how to evaluate or figure out what the ordered pairs are. Alright, sometimes they may give you an equation and say, alright, I'm going to give you this bit of information. One of these is wrong. Which one? Well, all you're going to do is you're going to put 2 in for x, negative 5 in for y, and see if when you put these together you're going to get 20. So 5 times 2 minus 2 times negative 5 equals 20. Is this true? 10 plus 10 equals 20. 20 equals 20. Yeah, that's a true statement. Then you try the next one. Put a 0 in for the x. Times 0 minus 2 times 10 equals 20. That's 0. Negative 2 times 10 is negative 20. Does that equal positive 20? No, it doesn't. So that one doesn't work. Just the 2, negative 5. All right, other than that, that's about it for this lesson.